Hey guys, it's Dr. Sandy, and I want to thank you for coming on. I know I didn't announce it, just wanted to come on to have a discussion about domestic violence and workplace violence. How does it go hand in hand? So I have a lot of discussions about this. I talk about this stuff all the time, and I wanted to kind of give you an idea on how they both have this weird, odd relationship. So the first thing that I want to talk about is there are different kinds of personalities, as we know, that work with us. You have the quiet ones. You have the people that are a little bit more outward. You have the funny ones. You have all kinds of different people that we work with, and as a team, we should honor each person's different way about them. Everybody has their quirks. I remember in school, there was always the bully that would bully me because I was either too fat or I was not pretty enough. I was, I just didn't look like them. And that's okay. That's not okay, but that's how they grew up. And that is their belief system. So we need to love people where they are. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the kinds of personalities that make us feel like nothing. And this is where I put my professor hat on, and I'm going to share with you um, the different kinds of personalities that are detrimental to our person. And I know a lot of you out there, we've had a lot of trauma that's happened to us. We have a lot of trauma that's happening over and over again that we see, that we hear. And it's not just in nursing. This is in, medical sees this, also teachers, because the patients that we take care of, they have children, right? So it's very important that we get a good idea on what this person is like. As we know, a lot of people have their choice words about this person in general. Everybody has their own opinion, but from the way that I look at things, I like to take the steps a little bit down the rabbit hole. So what I would like to talk about today is, before we get into domestic violence and workplace violence situations, how do they how are they similar, and how are they not similar? I want to talk about some diagnoses of, some mental illnesses that are out there, and they're more personality disorders, and also turn my ringer off. Sorry about that. There are also, things with, you have, your epigenetics, and over time things change, and also we can control some of that. Just learning on how to identify and how to take those steps to cope with stress, and instead of unhealthy coping mechanisms, look into healthy coping mechanisms. So I would like to talk a little bit about the different kinds of things that are happening on the floor, and how these two things can kind of go hand in hand, or all three of these diagnoses can go hand in hand. So the first one I'm going to diagnose is borderline personality disorder. So I know that, it's usually given to that woman that has borderline personality disorder. It's more common in women, but is it really? No, it's not. It presents as this person, you hear people that are saying, oh, they're just attention seeking, oh, this and oh, that. But let's find out a little bit more about this patient so we can take care of them the way that, is best for them and is best for us. So with a borderline personality disorder, you need to have boundaries with just literally everybody. You cannot go to inmate John and then go to Grandma Betty because she's cute and say, oh, Grandma Betty, you're so awesome. I love talking to you. And then you go into inmate John's, room and be like, here's your meds, right? You can't do that. As a person and as a professional, you just can't do that. Some people do, and some people make, comments and stuff like that. That's none of that is our business. We are there to take care of their health needs. As far as treating somebody differently, then you have inmate John saying, well, you're not treating me like Grandma Betty, and it goes back and forth. Stop it. So putting up boundaries, not only for yourself to make sure that you need to stay like firm with how you act from yourself, like not being firm with the patient, being firm with yourself to say, okay, I need to be the same way with everybody. Okay. But you can still laugh and you can still be personable and be kind. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do. So firm, fair to everybody. Don't do one and not do for the other, and consistent with everything that you do as a nurse. Don't treat somebody differently. It's easy to do because sometimes you have these borderline personality disorders that are, dramatic. They're looking for attention per se, right? So, but this patient has other things that are going on, right? So this patient has abandonment issues, right? They have probably been abandoned by literally everybody in their life. They have probably been called fat, ugly, stupid. They've probably been called the worst names ever. They've probably been in violent, relationships that has led to these issues with a very long history, or even a short history of extreme traumatic events, like even abuse as a child, like dramatic abuse. Then you have the person that has probably been in a domestic violence relationship, and then has had a traumatic event at work where they've been beat up, even raped. I don't want to sound so negative, but it's very important that we understand that there has been some serious trauma that's happened in this person's life, and they like how they feel when somebody's actually talking to them, when somebody's actually paying attention to how they're feeling. So this becomes, another part of, and I'm sure some people will chime in, of the different kinds of things that they have seen on the floors where, different kind of personality disorders, but they can be very manipulative. They can also be, they have also turbulent relationships, and they have problems with impulse control. They have self-damaging behavior. You might see that they might have cuts on their upper arms or even their legs. And I'm talking to you about patients in general, not just the ones that are angry, not the ones that are, these are things that we should be looking at for everybody. But this borderline personality disorder, these are specific. So you might see substance abuse, you might see binge eating, and they might have reoccurrent. All suicide attempts are very serious. This particular patient will have reoccurrent attempts of suicidal, gestures. They might present as cutting, which is not necessarily a suicide, unless it becomes like deeper, or, they'll be doing something to, like I've had a patient that has gone to his family after taking like maybe 2 or 3 pills and said, it was nice knowing you, Dad. Things like that. It is all serious. That it is not to be taken lightly. And also a lot of threats that they're going to hurt themselves. They may present as anxious, angry. A lot of, they might fight a lot with the people that are trying to care and love them. And they have this profound emptiness about them. This person, again, has the history of trauma and childhood abuse, as well as also they could be also very angry to the point where you're like, oh, that person's a jerk, so that's one personality disorder. And I'm sure, again, if you have, things that you would like to add, feel free. I will not be upset. Antisocial personality disorder, we see a lot of these kinds of folks that would be like, unfortunately, in the prison system, jail system, and also walking among us, where they violate the rights of the person that they're around, or many people at that, repetitively lying, a poor planner, reckless, a disregard for safety, failure to sustain consistent work behavior, lack of remorse, and it's just that it is just like, so this personality is, like a staff member gets hurt or a patient hurts a staff member, but they don't care because they know exactly, if they're going to go to jail, or we're not going to do anything anyway. So they manipulate the fact that we're not going to report. We're not going to report incidences. So therefore, what ends up happening is that, it keeps happening over and over again because they know they can get away with it. So this is another reason why I talk about reporting. And then we have our gaslighting. So gaslighting can almost sound exactly like borderline personality disorder, just more in length. So let's investigate that a little bit. So they continuously lie without even being able to tell that they're lying. They're just like repetitively lying, and it makes you to the point that you're questioning, well, what am I doing? I might not be the nicest person. Well, maybe I'm not that smart, or what's happening? I thought everything was fine, and then it goes back and it's not. I don't understand what's happening. Okay. So, and I know a lot of people feel that way sometimes in relationships. They make you believe what they said was not what they said. And it's almost like they're playing a mind game with you, and actually they are. And and even though that you have a witness, they somehow come back and say, I was not. You're seeing things a different way. You might be crazy, right? So they also hijack, your passion. They might sit there and say, yeah, I'm really interested in what you're doing. I think that's wonderful. And, and they just pump you up. They just make you feel like the most special person, and that what you're doing is going to be the most amazing thing also in their eyes, and that, they're just thrilled to death. But are they really? Right? So, they don't care what your status is. They're just going to do what they have to do in order to make you feel less than they do. Because if you're up here and they're here, they're going to try to make you down here with them. So, and then they'll even use your passion against you. Like, when you're working in this kind of thing and you're trying to help stop violence in healthcare, people are going to come after you, and you're going to need people to keep you safe. Well, I've had a situation with this not too long ago. And you know what? That was trying to put me into this controlling little factor, that what was going to happen was it was going to, eventually it could wear me down if I let it wear me down. Right? So you make that choice. And sometimes we don't see the choice. Sometimes it's completely blind. And what we do here at Nurses Against Violence, we talk about the hidden. We talk about things that people are afraid to talk about. How is gaslighting a part of your life on a day-to-day basis? How is it a part of your life in relationships? How is it a part of your life at work? And we're going to get to that. So we have this person that's gaslighting you could also have a personality disorder, because everything can kind of go hand in hand. They could also maybe have, other mental illnesses, which could be treated or not treated, right? Some people, there's a thick mental health stigma out there, and a lot of people are afraid to say, hey, listen, I need some help. And that is why we need to be educated as healthcare providers. Instead of saying, yeah, you need to stay in that hole, here's my hand, let me help you up, and let's get you, some help, figuratively more than literally giving them your hand, because sometimes, people, when they're violent, they might hurt you. So you want to be caring and supportive of all your patients, including your coworkers, because you don't know what they're going through. And this person that's continuously doing this gaslighting, they may make you feel unworthy, point out that your faults instead of, of their own. So, hey, you know what? You look fat in that shirt today, but let me go to the bar and get me a couple more beers to help my beer belly, or, you know, that kind of way, you know, or sit there and talk about how, you know, you are, you know, you missed something and you made an honest mistake and something slipped your mind and you're busy, but yet everything is important to you and you're trying to keep up, and yet you get yelled at and you get told that, you know, well, you shoulda, but where was that support, right? So they point out your faults instead of their own. So they get angry, they start yelling at you that it's your fault, but it was a simple mistake that could easily be fixed. And especially if the person's willing to fix it. But yet you're yelling at this person. Why are you yelling at this person? When really it's not about that person, it's about what that person's going through. And it's not fair to that person to be the target. They say that people yell at the people that they love. Well, I don't know about if they would love that person, but you know, when people are close to somebody, they usually yell at them. And that's not good. So they chip away at your being, the foundation of who you are, and actions are not met with integrity. They're not meant to do good. They're not meant to, what they say is not what they do. You know, then they make comments that are snide and backhanded, where you might be walking into an area and people are talking and then they see you coming in and then they leave, not saying, hey, you know, no conversation, they just leave. So I don't know, you know, that could be a problem, right? And that could make the person feel like, oh, well, that's off, that pattern's off. What happened? What am I doing wrong? What's happening, you know? So, and then they also have occasional compliments. They make you feel like they're awesome, that you are awesome and that they appreciate you. And then they do almost like, you know, you're awesome, here's the problem. And then they're like, you know what, you're really awesome, I really like you. In other words, it's almost like passive aggressive. And you know, and some people, you know, some people do that. And it's also nice to lighten the blow, especially if you're trying to mean something, but not to use it as a manipulative type of tactic. So what these kind of behaviors and what people say to you, it creates and it models a recipient to believe that they are not extraordinary or to even have any kind of talent. So why are you even trying? Why are you even trying to do anything? Why are you trying to help people feel better? You know, like questioning who you are and what you're doing. Well, and forgive me if I look down, I made notes because I don't want to get off topic, okay? So this person will also blame you for your imperfections. It is really, again, them projecting their actions that is happening with them onto you. Another part of this game is that they start talking about you to others, creating a hostile environment where they're taking, you know, little things and making it and continuing to talk about it instead of finding a solution. They smile at you, and you know, I could be talking about coworkers as well, right? They smile at you, say that they care about you, and mold you to their belief systems. They manipulate. It's a part of control. And another thing that they do, they make you feel crazy. Like they tell others that you're crazy and then they turn around and say, you know what, they're crazy. You know, I would never do that. So really you start believing that you're safe, but you're really not safe. You're really just kind of thrown out there. And then as a result, others will not believe you if you speak up. So if you're saying, hey, there's a problem, then it turns out that, nobody's going to listen to you because of the fact that they just discount it and move on with their own lives. So this is all the while they'll tell you about how much they care about you. They, they don't gossip. They don't believe what others say. And we like you in that box, my little infamous my little box. my little box. It's called learned helplessness. It's also known as compassion fatigue. It's also known as, they call it moral injury. And it's the learned helplessness box, which I'm going to decorate it a little bit more and make it really kind of cute. So they don't want you to become a free thinker. So now, hold on a second, let me get some water. Now let's talk about domestic violence. Being Domestic Violence Week, I wanted to, not week, I'm sorry, month. We're getting down to the end of the month is what I'm trying to say. And I wanted to address this issue. So usually caregivers are the ones that go into, and I don't have the actual statistics, but it is very common. Anyone you talk to that's in healthcare, they're in it for a reason. Whether it be they had a family member that was really taken care of really well, maybe they were abused when they were a child, maybe they were abandoned, maybe this and that, something happened in their life that they felt that working in healthcare would make things better for them and hopefully help others in the process. This is why a lot of us get into nursing, those that are in it for a paycheck, which I know a lot of the nursing professionals and healthcare professionals that are on our page are not in it for the paycheck. And if you are, please plug your ears or please leave the page because we are in it for the patient. We're in it to help people and to do our best in that process. So how does domestic violence add up? We are so ready to tell or help somebody else with a domestic violence situation, but we're not willing to help ourselves. Domestic violence is where, like, we'll just use the husband and wife because that's like it's like a common scenario. It could be man, husband and husband. It could be wife and wife. Either way you look at it, abuse happens across the board regardless. So we have domestic violence where this person was awesome when they were younger. Like they were high school sweethearts. And I'm just using this as a scenario, so please humor me. They were high school sweethearts. They grow up, they get married, they start having children. Then about mid-20s, there's something that starts to happen, right? They start abusing one of the other partners. It could be the female on the male. It could be, it goes both ways, or it could be both. They have children and they're, living their life. They're trying to build their dreams and their passion together. But sometimes people are kind of going like this. Well, you have this violent relationship and you also had a violent past. And a lot of people that got into healthcare went in again to help other people, to be there for other people that were in the same kind of situation, or whatever their reasons are. It's always usually a good a good meaning, like they're trying to do better. Then you have this situation where you have the this person continuously is messing with their mind, doing this gaslighting, doing all of this stuff. This caregiver goes to work because they're married to this person, or even this person goes to work, whichever job that they have, and then they're continuously like, they go to work to escape all of this violence and behavior manipulation and mind games to help distract them from what's happening at home, to leave it behind and to be able to go do the things that they love and to be able to do what they, again, what they love. So over time, it has gone from now to, and then they'll, they hit you, they do all kinds of stuff. Well, this caregiver now, or this teacher that takes care of students that have these patients that are going through their own mental stuff, right? And they are getting hurt now at work. They're getting all this gaslighting and all these personalities. There's a lot of good people out there, and a lot of good people that do have these kind of things that are happening. It's just they are either lonely, they've never had the good support system, and nobody's actually listened to them. And building relationships is the block of everything that we do. When you have this caregiver that goes to work, they go to work to lose themselves selflessly in the care of taking care of other people, right? And then they get abused at work. So they leave an abusive situation at home to go to work to be abused. Where's their refuge? How are they coping? How are they feeling better? Well, then you have this caregiver going back home to the situation. Are they able to escape? Are they able to start feeling better? No, because they're continuously surrounded by this. So how is domestic violence and workplace violence any different? It's absolutely not. It is when we decide that the violence stops with us. It is when we start taking back our health care in regards to being treated bad, to stop, like it doesn't happen just like that. That's what therapy and that's what the services that we're going to be offering. We're going to help you get stronger, build you up to be able to give you the friendship that you deserve, to help fill the void that you've had. Because everybody deserves to have somebody in their life, whether it be an intimate relationship or even a friendship, an honest friendship that nobody is going to talk down at you or whatever, but they'll set you straight and they'll keep your goals in order. And that's what we do. We do a mastermind, we do all kinds of stuff. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that when we talk to people about domestic violence and we try to help other people, we need to also remember we need to help ourselves. Because if we do not help ourselves, how good are we to our children and to those that love us? We need to, and those that we work with. Because if we're not reporting these incidences, if we're not finding some sort of way to be able to talk about it, it starts building up and then it goes in your subconscious. And then things start happening. We don't want anything bad to happen to anybody in, healthcare. We want to make sure that everybody knows that they are supported. And if you should ever need somebody to reach out to, please know that you can message any of us in admin. And also I want to just, finish with this. As I was mentioning earlier, there is always a child to an abusive adult. That child we can change. As healthcare workers, we have the ability to try to build relationships with people professionally and to help ourselves be okay. And then if we see a child, to be, try to be a mentor, try to recognize, even in your own way, how the violence is a problem, because now we have these young minds that are absorbing all of these things that are happening with COVID. There's there's riots going on, and there needs to be a lot of changes in society. There has to be. These kids are not, I'm not saying they're being brainwashed, but what I am saying is that they're being surrounded by a lot of negative. And if we can uplift them and we can help them feel like they're being heard, then maybe we can fix the next generation to help them feel like they are all of one, right? One community. We are all one. Yes, we all may have different skin colors. We all have different personalities. Some of you guys know that I have Asperger's and I have anxiety. Yeah, I do. Who doesn't? PTSD is like rampant in healthcare. But we can change anything we want to. So with that being said, I really appreciate everybody that is able to watch, even if it's at a later time. And I apologize, I usually come on a little bit earlier, but again, I am, I'm doing a lot of stuff over here. So I appreciate it. And I wish you guys have a great night and talk with you guys next week. Bye.